Week 39 Day 1. Saga Heroic story. Since the saga of a lone lonely man confronting the turbulent oceans in a small boat is an exploit we find laudable appraise. Since Saga Noun C1 a long story about several past events or people, originally one told in the Middle Ages in Iceland or Norway, a lengthy and compelling family saga to a long complicated series of related usually negative events, it was just another episode in an ongoing saga of marriage problems. Belated late, delayed since the ingrate refused to accept Cindy's belated gift since belated adjective coming later than expected, a belated apology they did make a belated attempt to reduce the noise. Belated birthday greetings. Belatedly adverb decrepit broken down, worn out since when released from incarceration prison, he was gaunt and decrepit since decrepit adjective and very bad condition because of being old, or not having been cared for, or having been used a lot. Most of the buildings were old and decrepit. A decrepit old man sat on a park bench. Decrepitude noun euformal a state of decrepitude imperturbable calm, steady, serene since the speaker remained imperturbable, while his audience shouted caustic comments about his mendacious activities. Null sense imperturbable adjective always staying calm and controlled, even in difficult situations that would cause anxiety to others. Imperturbably adverb formal vacillate hesitate, fluctuate sense we are all familiar with the clique, that he who vacillated is lost sense vacillate verb I disapproving, to be uncertain what to do, or to change frequently between two opinions, her mood vacillated between hope and despair. Vacillation noun C or U a sacred person or thing that cannot be criticized. From India, where cows may not be harmed, because of religious rules since I decided to throw down the gauntlet by exposing the boss's son, who had been ruling the roost, as the sacred cow of the business. Rule, Britannia. An unforgettable saga of World War II has to do with the small French coastal town of Dunkirk. There, in 1940, thousands of British troops made a belated escape from the awesome power of the German Army and Air Force. They were removed by an array of private boats, from huge yachts to decrepit fishing boats. At their own volition, the skippers came close to the shore, while German planes bombed implacably. They remained imperturbable under heavy fire. When their vessels were loaded, they dashed back to England. Once unloaded, they did not vacillate, but returned with equanimity to their vigil in the danger zone. The British proved once again that they are paragons of comradeship in times of jeopardy. Null Week 39 Day 2. Staunch, strong, trusty, firm. Since she is such a staunch friend, my reprehensible actions do not cause a schism split between us. Since staunch loyal adjective always loyal in supporting a person, organization or set of beliefs or opinions, a staunch friend and ally. He gained a reputation as being a staunch defender supporter of civil rights. Staunchly sense adverb strongly, staunchly loyal independent staunchness noun. You sense staunch stop verb ts also staunch to stop something happening, or to stop liquid, especially blood, from flowing out. The country's asylum laws were amended to staunch the flood of economic migrants. Mike pressed hard on the wound and staunched the flow of blood. Opprobrium scorn, insult sense the coach heaped opprobrium upon the fledgling fresh ball player. Sense opprobrium noun euformal severe criticism and blame. International opprobrium has been heaped on the country following its attack on its neighbors. Opprobrious adjective formal Machiavellian not principled, governed by opportunity. Since we are ready to rationalize Machiavellian activities on the part of our side, if they are to the detriment harm of our adversary. Sense Machiavellian adjective using clever but often dishonest methods, which deceive people so that you can gain power or control. Unconscionable without conscience, unreasonable. Sense it was unconscionable to Abraham Lincoln to keep a book he had borrowed without making tenacious efforts to return it. Sense unconscionable adjective formal disapproving an unconscionable size, amount, or length of time. Is too great and is unacceptable. They had both drunk an unconscionable quantity of red wine the previous night. Unconscionably adverb formal disapproving pandemonium uproar, disorder. Sense there was pandemonium, as the presidential nominee entered the convention site. Sense pandemonium noun you a situation in which there is a lot of noise and confusion because people are excited, angry or frightened. Pandemonium reigned in the hall, as the unbelievable election results were read out. The pandemonium of the school playground through thick and thin in spite of all sorts of difficulties since he decided to stick with his fair weather friends through thick and thin. The good guys versus the bad guys. The international adventure stories prevalent on television follow meticulously a plot that is inexorable its development. Those on the side of law and justice face perfidious men and organizations. These are anathema to those values the staunch heroes would defend. These infamous men have no capacity for compassion, and they treat the lovely women with opprobrium. The intrepid heroes are placed in deleterious situations, as a result of the Machiavellian maneuvers of their opponents. One unconscionable act of duplicity follows another until the total destruction of the good guys seems at hand. At the last moment, usually amidst the pandemonium of a battle, the cause for which the heroes strive triumphs. However, evil is ubiquitous prevalent, and next week another fracas will erupt. Week 39 Day 3. Flay strip off skin, scold harshly since he castigated his opponents, and went to great lengths to flay them with accusations of megalomania. Flay verb T1 to remove the skin from a person's or animal's body. 2. To whip a person or animal so hard that some of their skin comes off. Figurative. The critics really flayed severely criticized his new book. Flay s be alive informal to punish or tell someone off severely. I'll be flayed alive when she finds out. Demeanor conduct. Bearing sense. His demeanor was atypical, usually phlegmatic. He was belligerent, warlike and garrulous during the broadcast sense. Demeanor UK. Us demeanor noun new formal a way of looking and behaving. There was nothing in his demeanor that suggested he was anxious. She has the demeanor of a woman who is contented with her life. Delineation sketch, description in word sense. Then he gave an incisive delineation of his fulsome opponents, as an antiquated old-fashioned group, complacent about the noisome conditions in a Morban city sense. Delineate verb T formal, to describe or mark the edge of something. The main characters are clearly delineated in the first chapter of the book. The boundary of the car park is delineated. Its edges are marked by a low brick wall. Delineation noun C or U. Vindicate, absolve, justify. Since the mayor tried to vindicate his actions that had been called capricious and irrational by critics. Sense vindicate verb T1, to prove that what someone said or did was right or true, after other people thought it was wrong. The decision to include Morris in the team was completely vindicated when he scored 3 goals. The investigation vindicated her complaint about the newspaper. 2. To prove that someone is free from guilt or blame, after other people blamed them, or they said they welcomed the trial, as a chance to vindicate themselves. Vindication noun S or U. The army's victory is being seen as a vindication of their tactics. Heinous, hatefully evil. Sense the most heinous thing I have done, he said in a stentorian voice, is eradicate the untruth that my party is not compatible with progress. Sense heinous adjective formal, very bad and shocking, a heinous crime to take by storm, to make a fast impression. Sense the new opera star took the critics by storm and carried the day. A famous mutiny. One of the most repugnant names in popular legend is that of Captain William Bligh. He was the captain of the HMS Bounty in 1789, and the mutiny that erupted aboard that ship was the basis for a film in which Charles Lowden portrayed Bligh as an awesome bully and an unmitigated villain. He would flay both the body and the spirit of anyone who crossed him. The crew developed such an aversion to Bligh's mortifying actions and demeanor that, led by Fletcher Christian, they set the captain and 17 shipmates off in a lifeboat in the South Pacific. The ship continued to the Pitcairn Islands, where the crew remained to live with the islanders. Lowden's delineation of Bligh remains as the image we have of him. Only recently has any attempt been made to vindicate Captain Bligh, and to remove the heinous reputation that permeates history. Null Week 39 Day 4. Turpitude, vileness, evil, wickedness. Sense from any facet of his life. The Acme E paragraph superscript 1, paragraph of moral turpitude was reached by Adolf Hitler. Sense turpitude noun new formal evil, acts, crimes of moral turpitude, infraction, violation. Sense we do not condone, pardon, or tolerate an infraction of even the most trivial kind. Sense infraction noun C or U formal, when someone breaks a rule or law, any attempt to influence the judges will be seen as an infraction of the rules. Callous, unfeeling. Sense it takes a callous person to watch with equanimity as a gullible, easy-to-cheat, naive girl falls for the line of a loathsome currency, paragraph, Yanboy sense callous adjective. Unkind or cruel, without sympathy or feeling for other people, it might sound callous, but I don't care if he's harmless. He's not living with me. Callously. Adverb. Callousness. Noun you. Redress to right a wrong, remedy sense there seems to be no way, to redress a grievance against an omnipotent ruler sense redress verb T formal. To put right a wrong, or give payment for a wrong that has been done. Most managers, politicians and bosses are men. How can women redress the balance, make this situation fairer and more equal? Redress noun you formal. Money that someone has to pay to someone else, because they have injured them or treated them badly. He went to the industrial tribunal, to seek redress for the way his employers had discriminated against him. Vituperation blame, abuse sense how easy it is to heap vituperation upon someone at the nadir lowest point of his career sense vituperative adjective formal. A vituperative spoken or written attack is full of angry accusations. Miss Snowdon yesterday launched a vituperative attack on her ex-boss and former lover. Vituperation noun you formal. To be in fine fettle, to be in high spirits, or feeling well since he did a lot of wool gathering, and was in fine fettle during the whole of the Indian summer. Fair play. Recently, there has been an attempt to improve Captain Bligh's tainted image. Historians maintain that there was no turpitude in Bligh's actions aboard the HMS Bounty. Perhaps he was imprudent in failing to keep his temper under control. While an infraction aboard ship was quickly criticized, Bligh never carried out those callous actions the movie dramatized in order to depict an evil man, say his defenders. After the mutiny, Captain Bligh astutely navigated the lifeboat with the other 17 men for over 3,000 miles to safety. This prodigious massive feat alone, say those who would restore Bligh's good name, should be enough to allow for a full redress of the wrongs that have been blamed on him for over 150 years. While the coterie defending Captain Bligh do not ask the public to praise him, they do request a more benevolent attitude toward this traditionally reprehensible figure, and an end to the vituperation heaped upon used in negative verb him for these many years. Week 39 Day 5. Psst. Need World Series tickets? Think about this for a moment. Is there anything wrong in buying something for $1, and reselling it for $2? Naturally, you would be correct, if you saw nothing amiss with this transaction. It's the way a capitalist economy works. But, if you bought a ticket to a rock concert or baseball game for $10, and sold it for $20, you would be committing an infraction of the law. You might ask, what's so heinous about this? The answer is that you would be guilty of the practice known as scalping. Does an individual, who offers a scarce ticket at a price above the original price, deserve the opprobrium connected with the word scalping? These hard-working and risk-taking individuals see themselves as go-betweens in a world where people are willing to spend additional money for a popular event. However, law enforcement officials remain imperturbable in the face of all reason, as they arrest and fine these enterprising salesmen. Those staunch believers in punishing lawbreakers find nothing wrong with trying to halt the scalping of tickets. For others, it is a way of doing business that they claim hurts no one, and is in keeping with a profit-driven economy.